Hi guys, welcome to another week of English 78B. How are you feeling? I know that in 4 weeks we have covered a lot of material and maybe some of it has seemed repetitive, but I really want to make sure that you feel like you're very strong at writing a summary. And in order to write a summary, you really have to understand what it was that you read. So in the lab area, you've been given assignments to read. You annotate those articles and then you turn it into a summary. Hopefully at home you were able to kind of follow this same process. And if you think back to the reading strategies I gave you in week 1 and 2, you know that part of really retaining what you read goes into telling it to somebody else. So if you're able to tell somebody else about what you read, then you really understood it and you really remember it. So before I talk about the in-class activity today, I would like to have Professor Aubrey pause the video, and I'm hoping that at least 5 or maybe even 6 of you will share what you read. I don't want you to stand up and read your paper, but I would love it if you stood up and just kind of summarized orally what you read, what you learned, what you noticed about this article that you found. Because again, the more we share, the easier it is for us to remember what we read. So again, Professor Aubrey, if you could please pause and ask some of the students here to stand up and share. Okay, so hopefully we're ready to continue. You will be passed out this peer review handout. So once you get it, I'm going to show you what we're doing today. So you start by putting your name up here. This is your name, and number 1 says whose paper did you read. So don't mix them up. So if your name is Jane, here's Jane, and whose paper did you read? Bob Smith, okay? Now, did the student's paper start with the proper citation? Remember, you need to say in the title. Author says, or explains, or describes, or whatever word you want to use there, but you need to follow that format so that we have it properly cited. And if that's not correct, please make sure you tell me here. I want you to really answer these questions as best as possible. Take this seriously. I don't want one-word answers like yes, no. Tell me what you notice, because the whole point of doing a peer critique is not so that you can get notes from other people, it's so that you can practice giving notes to other people. Because the more you edit, the easier it will be for you to edit yourself, because that's the biggest challenge. So again, look for that citation. Number 3, what was the main point that the author identified? If it wasn't very clear, you need to tell me that. You're not really sure what the main point of the article was because that summary didn't express it. Number 4, what examples and minor details were included? So again, what are those subpoints? Number 5, did you notice any personal opinions in the summary? That would be things like I thought, I think, I feel. Any I statements are definitely opinions, but they don't have to be. They could also be assumptions that are included that don't have an I statement. So those are a little bit trickier to identify, but if you saw something like, this was an amazing read, that's an opinion, right? So we want to cross that out and make sure you note that here for me, because we want to avoid opinions in summarizing. And finally, number 6, this is probably the most important. What are your suggestions for improvement? So this is where I want you to think about the grammar, the sentence structure, maybe even the content overall. Was it long enough? Was it too long? And that might depend on the actual article. So hopefully your partner brought a copy of the article. If not, it's okay. But if they did, then you can look over it and tell me whether or not your partners really did summarize that piece. So hopefully that makes sense. I am going to kind of estimate that in order to do this effectively and correctly, it'll take about 20 minutes. So you get your partner's paper, you read through it, you mark all over it. So actually write on his or her paper the corrections that you have. Maybe you're confused about something. Maybe a sentence doesn't make sense. Maybe there needs to be a comma. Maybe something's a run-on. If you're not quite sure how to fix it grammatically, that's okay. You can just write a little note on the margin that says, this is confusing, or this is awkward. Tell that partner what you felt, because be honest, if you just say, great job, that's not going to help him or her improve. So again, write on the paper and then answer these questions for me. And then you need to pause when you're both ready. You need to turn to each other and you need to talk about it. So share it together, talk about what you noticed, what you saw, what you can do to improve. And then maybe Miss Aubrey will kind of keep a stopwatch for you. You're going to switch. So again, maybe 20 minutes in, you're going to switch with another partner, and you need to do this all over again. So whose paper did you read? So start with partner 2. Read through it, write all over it, answer these questions, and then discuss. So if this is done correctly, it'll take at least 40 to 50 minutes to make sure everyone gets at least 2 peer reviews. So again, if you have any questions, Professor Aubrey can answer those. Once you have done all of this, please give this handout back to, well, you keep it yourself, the one that wrote it. You're going to keep this, and instead of Professor Aubrey having to collect them, you hold on to it, put it in your binder. You can give it to me in class on Tuesday. On Thursday next week, a week from today, you're going to bring me a copy of your rough draft that has marks all over it, the article that you read, and the final draft. So I should see every step of this writing process. So I see the rough draft, the article, and the final draft all together again next Thursday. And I think that pretty much covers it. Other than revising your paper for me, you don't have any homework over the weekend. And I'll start you on, or getting prepared for our first grammar quiz next week. All right, so again, if you have any questions or concerns, you guys can text me. I know I've been talking to a lot of you through text messages and through emails. The Etudes platform is a great place to also chat with me. Some of us were in the live chat room a couple nights ago, so that's a great way to get in touch with me. But if you're doing okay, then I will see you and talk to you next week. Have a great weekend, guys.